Greetings, Earthlings. Welcome back to Seek and Repair. Today we're going to be sharpening some lawnmower blades. So I'll teach you how to sharpen them, how to balance them, and inspect them and what have you. So anyway, without further ado, let's get started. So the first thing you want to do is get your grinder set up properly. What you're worried about is this interface here between this this plate, this slide, this rest, if you will, and your grinding wheel. You want there to be as little room as possible between the two, right down in there. Because the bigger the gap, the more likely this grinding wheel will be to grab whatever it is you're sharpening and suck it down in there. You don't want that. First of all, I want to see if my angle is correct. So what I'm going to do is on this edge here, this is your cutting edge. I'm going to just stick this up in here, lay it flat on the rest, spin the wheel just by hand, just see where it contacts. So it's contacting right in the middle. So you can see right in there, there's witness marks from the grinding wheel. Looks pretty good to me. This blade is so worn out. You can see on the back side, this shiny portion right there. All that's going to have to go away before this blade will be sharp again. It's going to be a lot of grinding, and this blade's already thin enough as it is. Go ahead and just use the wire wheel to clean up all this caked on grass and debris, because that will affect your balance later on. Put on your safety glasses. Fire up the grinder. Make light pattern. You basically just rinse and repeat. You do this over and over again until you get this ground surface, until you eliminate the shiny parts on the back side. So once you've eliminated those, then you know that you'll have a nice edge. So let's grind these bad boys down until we get an edge on everything. Go ahead and do that first, then worry about balancing them, because you'll be here all day chasing your tail if you try to do, grind, balance. I'm going to finish grinding these, and then I'll show you how to balance. Now I'll tell you what you want, what you really, really want. Alright, starting to get a burr, come up a little bit, back behind, back here, so that means that I'm finally grinding into the flat portion of the blade, not the rolled over portion. In reality, really only the last couple of inches are what really cuts the grass on a blade. So this, I'm going to put an edge on this, but I don't think I'm going to take it all the way down where the shiny part is, because that's going to make the blade that much weaker. And this is really superfluous, because some blades don't even have this portion sharpened. So anyway, just a bunch of light passes. Don't put a whole lot of pressure on the blade, because you'll create a lot of heat, and you'll probably stall the grinder, and you'll get nowhere fast. Now this blade has some damage on the very tip here. You can see it right there, it's scraped, so it may not get perfectly sharp there, but that's okay. I don't want to go crazy with this blade because it's so thin anyway. I've got a burr coming up along this edge pretty nicely now, and if you're wearing leather gloves, you can actually just work the burr back and forth until it breaks off, kind of like when you bend a wire coat hanger back and forth, eventually it breaks. You can do that with a burr, and that'll leave you with a really clean edge. Clean enough for lawnmower business anyway. Now if you catch it in the light just right, you can see a pretty uniform burr all the way along the back side there. That's what you're going for. I'm going to call that good. Now just repeat the step for the other side. I've went ahead and spent some time grinding this portion down, and as you can see, if I grind this down all the way to that shiny part is gone on all these blades, I'll be here probably for the rest of my life. So I'm just going to put an edge on it as best I can, because I mean, let's face it, I'm cutting grass. I'm not shaving my face or slicing up meat with it or anything else like that. It doesn't have to be perfect. Any edge is better than what was on here. It's been probably a year since these blades were sharpened. Last time I sharpened them was when I rebuilt the deck on it, which is a whole nother story. But anyway, I've used the wire wheel to clean up the worst, just knock the loose stuff off, the loose grass and debris. And yeah, so now I just got to do this a bunch more times, and then we'll go on to the balancer. Okay, so I've got the blade sharpened to my liking. So now let's use our Mag 1000 Magnamatic blade balancer. And you want to make sure you install the middle hole over this cone. Put that there, and you reach back behind here and you squeeze the magnet. That locks the blade in place. Now just let it go. Well, clearly this end is heavy. So what I'll do, pop the blade off and just keep sharpening this end and remove more material, then put the blade back up here and recheck it. And you know you're done when you mount the blade and it will sit in a horizontal position just like that without moving. That's when you know you're balanced. Now also another feature is you have this little rod here that you can check blade straightness with. So what you do is you pull the rod out till it just touches the blade on the tip, spin it around and check. Okay, and this one hits pretty hard, so we'll move the rod back. See if I can put you down here and let you see what's going on. So right there, the rod just contacts the gauge. So we'll spin the blade down, and if you notice, there's a good 1/8 inch gap. So that means this blade is out 1/8 of an inch. The question is whether it's high or low on one end. Now to determine which side is high and which side is low, if any, take a level, put it up against the blade. The gap is bigger at the bottom than it is at the top. Now this blade is probably okay to use. That's not that far out of spec. I don't know what the guidelines are for straightness of lawnmower blades, but probably be okay. But I think I'm going to try to get that a little bit better. So I'm going to use my press and just set the blade in the press like this. Press down in the center while it's supported on either end. And maybe that'll kind of bring it back into spec. So let's go give that a shot. Okay, so I got the blade in the press. Clearly this is the tallest part and the blade kind of bows down like that. So I'm going to just put a little pressure on it. See if I can flatten it out. There you go, it moved a little bit. So let's back it off. See if we made any progress. Probably not. I'll go check real quick. No progress to speak of. Let's try it again. Maybe go a little further with it this time. You know, these are spring steel, so they're going to have a lot of ability to move down and then retain their shape and spring back to where they used to be. So let's try that. Probably zero progress. It doesn't seem to be doing anything. I've used this technique on other lawnmower blades that were more bent than this, and it worked. This one doesn't appear to be doing anything. We'll try it this way, see if it makes a difference. Okay, that's a good bit of pressure on there. Let's try that out. No difference at all. Let's try the bench vise. feel like I'm at risk of pulling this glass out of this table since it's on the ledge. Try that. No dice. Have another solution. Put more pressure here. See if we can get it to work. It's been a good bit. See if it retained its shape. Great success. We'll probably cut the distance in half. I'll try it one more time. Somehow it went back to where it was. I think I'm just swapping sides with the bend here. I don't know if you can tell, I've made some tweaks to this jack. Put a roll pin on the relief valve, and I welded up this 2-part handle. I'm sick of it coming out all the time, coming apart, and this way I don't have to pull the handle out to release the jack. Works smarter, not harder. I say that as I'm having to re-stroke this jack because I forgot to tighten this. Try that. Okay, it's within a 1/16 of an inch. But I'm aiming for perfection. Just to show that it can be done. Success! And I'll show you. It's just touching there. It's just barely not touching there. I mean, it's a hair's width from touching. So I'm going to call that good. So that's how you straighten a blade. Now I just got to balance this bad boy. Now that, my friends, is a balanced blade. It should oscillate back and forth a little bit when it's found center. I'll help it by stopping it. Meh. Meh. One more little trick after you've got it all sharpened is you can use the edge of your grinder here to pull back that burr. Just set it against there. And as you do that, you can see that burr rise up. Again, you take your leather glove. And you just run the burr this way, and this way, this way, this way. And just bending it back and forth until eventually it'll break off. And that's when you know you've got a nice clean edge. I suppose you could use a file or something else to knock it off, but this is the way to do it and cause the least amount of damage to that edge. Again, not that it's super critical, I mean you're only cutting grass, but it's worth doing. It's worth doing right. Now, 4 more to go. Alright everybody, so that's it on sharpening mower blades and balancing and straightening. Hopefully you learned something. I got it all done. Took a little while, made a mess, as usual. Another thing to note is that depending on your type of mower blade, it may or may not take you as long. This is the blade off the big 60-inch cut Jacobson. There's 3 of these. This is a thick blade. This thing's probably 1/4 of an inch thick. And this is a blade off of a regular push mower. It's about half as thick, probably 1/8 of an inch or so. See my math I did there? Anyway, here they are, all gussied up and ready to go. Hopefully you can see that. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. Peace outside. Oh, you good girl. You
Good girl spaghetti. Yes, I am. Please subscribe.